Hello and welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days, and we are looking at the week of Monday, June 17th through Sunday, June 23. It's a big week. We have Happy Juneteenth on the 20th, I believe, no, the 19th. And then that's Wednesday, and then we have the summer solstice on Thursday. So that longest day of the summer of the year, and then we start to lose the light. So obviously it'll be a while before we really start to notice that. So if you don't know about Juneteenth, that is a celebration of when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas finally found out that they had been freed. So that was when they learned of their freedom. It took a while. So this week we are starting with the moon in Scorpio. That's a pretty intense moon. One that's associated with things like death and taxes and rebirth. That's the big thing. It's not literal death. It's a shedding of an old skin kind of energy, and has a lot of depth and perhaps psychic ability with it. And then we cycle through to the moon in Aquarius, and that's where Scorpio, of course, is a water sign, and then Aquarius is an air sign, so things get a lot more intellectual by that next Sunday. More concerned with humanity, justice for people, having enough for everyone, shared resources, things like that, as well as lots of ideas and inventive technology. So on Monday, for our other astrology pieces here, we have Mercury squaring Neptune, and Mercury and Cancer are Mercury and Venus are traveling together at the moment. Mercury goes faster, so we'll pull ahead eventually, but right now they're both getting ready to enter Cancer. So this is going to cause maybe a lot of imagination, which is wonderful. It can be very sensitive. It could be a lot about daydreaming. It's good for that. It's good for imagination. It's not so good for contracts, things like that. And it's good for things like socializing, again, creativity. Then on Thursday, we have the Sun squaring Neptune, as it also is entering Cancer. So you can see there's a line up there. First the Mercury, then just hours later Venus, and then a few days later we have the Sun coming there too. So that could drain our energy. Neptune is very diffuse, again, dreamy, imaginative, unclear boundaries, things like that. So it could feel a little bit tiring that way. It's a better day to stay close to home and nurture yourself and your loved ones. Then on Friday, our last aspect for this week, we have Mercury sextile Mars, and those are much easier energies than squares. So here, we might feel like we have very clear and purposeful communication. Mars brings that energy, Mercury brings that ability to communicate. So we could have very good judgment that day, and we're going to mean what we say, which, that's a nice thing. It's also good for repairs when Aries is involved. That can be good for that sort of thing. So for our cards for this week, as always, take what resonates and leave the rest behind, letting it percolate through your own filter system here. So we start off really heavy on the discs. We begin with the 9 of discs, or pentacles, you might call them. And this is earthy energy. 9 is that weird number where you add it to any other number and you still get that same number. So it sort of disappears. It's really interesting. And, with this card, some people talk about there's a sort of bird of paradise sitting on her shoulder. Obviously, you've got all the discs, like, you know, big medallion type necklace here. And, you know, it's usually associated with really good prosperity, good energies, feeling like you're really, you know, having things go your way on the material plane. We continue with those discs the next day, Tuesday, with the 6. And you see here somebody who is handing out coin, has a little balance scale, I assume to weigh money, gold, whatever it might be, and then all these discs, you know, behind. So this card can go both ways. The positive would be abundance, that there is some success in the world of abundance, in the material world. The dark side can be feeling a little bit stingy with that abundance, or still scarce somehow, even though it's there. So we want to try to use that energy, obviously, you know, to bolster our generosity and our sense of well-being. Our last card, oh no, that's not true. We've got another one coming up. So here's our third pentacle. This one is the 10, and this is usually associated with a prosperous home, well-managed, perhaps traditional, but things going really, really well on the domestic front and the material front. Feeling very solid about that. We move into very different territory when we get to Thursday, which is interesting because that's the day that we have the sun square the Neptune, and we also have our summer solstice. We got the devil. So I've talked about this before. It came up at least a few weeks ago, and it is an energy that can be seen as very playful, mischievous, teasing, things like that. I would say that's the more positive use of it, having a sense of humor, especially about your own, you know, problems, your own self, your issues with yourself, issues with others too. The darker side can be coercion, manipulation, trying to control people, things like that. Having a cruel streak and so forth. So, you know, just be mindful. This energy might come at you. It might be more in the collective. And whatever it happens to be, try to, you know, kind of come back, take that bigger picture and see if you can find a way to laugh about it. And that is a number 6. And that 6 is also associated. So we have the 6, you know, where it can be, again, very prosperous or a little bit on the more greedy side. It's associated with the lovers. So it can refer to humankind, the male and female, and others being enslaved in a way to what some people might call the matrix, to the system. When we get to Friday, it's pretty sweet. Now we move into a royal card and to water. So there is a very feminine energy with this week, and that kind of fits with the sun moving into Cancer. It's a very feminine, watery sign. Here, the page is a messenger frequently. This one can be messages of love, of companionship, of domesticity, things like that. Being willing to open up your heart and share that with somebody. It often is associated with the feminine, the pages are. You'll sometimes see them as male figures, but I would consider it a double feminine. So a lot of softness and sweetness to that. It can be like a beloved daughter kind of energy. So again, with all the royal cards, can be within, referring to the way we treat ourselves and others, or somebody around you, a young feminine energy. On Saturday, we get a 4 of Swords, and this is a very a card very indicative of needing some rest, perhaps, to take a bit of a break, to let the thoughts just settle down. I mean, we only see like a helmet visor type thing here on a knight, and frequently you'll see an entire coffin that the knight is stretched out on. So it's not about the death, though. It's just about that quieting the mind, quieting the thoughts in a very stable way, because fours are connected to the Emperor. They're connected to the Temperance card. No, excuse me, that's not true. What's the other one? To death, actually. And again, not death, but a kind of symbolism of letting stuff go, letting the self be transformed. And, it takes a lot of energy to do that. So that's where some rest can come in. And then our last card and our last pentacles. So we got a second page. So again, there's that youthful energy to this. Now this one looks a bit more masculine, even though it is a feminine sign. So I'm tempted to call it a double feminine again. But this one can bring earthy news, things that are tangible. Perhaps even a new perspective on something. And when I say that, it could be very located in the body, feeling physically different about a situation. As always with the royals, it can be someone around you. It could be a young male or female energy that is grounded in earthy, or needs to be anyway. So those are the cards for the week, and again, heavy on the pentacles, the 9, the 6, the 10, and then ending with that page. And just 1 cup, so a lot of feminine energy, as I mentioned, and the masculine comes in with the 4 of swords only, and the devil, which is also considered a kind of masculine energy as well. So with 1 major, that can indicate too that things are beginning. And as I mentioned, with the longest day of summer and then the light starting to lessen a little each day, that kind of fits for me with that devil energy, in terms of it could be perplexing, but it is something new, and it is our only major for the week. All right, so I also drew an oracle card, back to the Tree Keeper's Oracle this time. And the one that came up really sort of surprised me. It's the Keeper of Solitude. I get very close and the glare is really bad. Sorry about that. But these cards are just so beautiful. This one's a little bit more somber. You have a hermit-like figure there. Almost in shadow, basically. It's just kind of a suggestion. And then somebody up in the tree house, and then somebody approaching. So, Keeper of Solitude, there will be time for togetherness, but not now. This is a time for solitude. The spiral of your soul tree and its root system need your attention. It has songs to sing and dreams to sigh straight into your heart. But you can only hear their messages in the intentional quiet of solitude. Take this time to break away from the clan, withdraw from the clamoring world outside, and the one in your own mind. Nestle down with intentionality. Sometimes it takes willing aloneness to discover your belonging. The belonging to your soul tree, to the present circumstance, and its challenges, to yourself. So, beloveds, I'm wishing you the best week possible. Please reach out if you could use some help via a personal reading, and please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing. Otherwise, again, happy solstice on Thursday, happy Juneteenth on Wednesday, and I will see you in 7 days.